Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Frank Mularcik, and in this video, we're going to be doing a brief stock analysis on Pfizer stock, ticker symbol PFE. So as we all probably know, Pfizer was one of the first companies to come out with an experimental drug to fight COVID, and that has probably affected their financial results. So we're going to take a look at their first quarter 2021 results and see how they did and see how those vaccine numbers impacted their results as well. So just looking at this press release from a few weeks ago, May 4th, they had first quarter, here, let me make it a little bit bigger. They had first quarter 2021 revenues of 14.6 billion, which was a 42% operational growth. And they said excluding, basically they had revenues from the vaccine of about $3.5 billion. And if they excluded those revenues, then revenues grew 8% operationally. And there was actually a negative 5% impact from pricing. So prices, I think that means prices went down basically. So they still grew revenues 8%, even though the prices went down. So that's pretty good to see. And then they list first quarter 2021 reported diluted EPS of 86 cents and adjusted diluted EPS of 93 cents. And I would like to have seen, a comparison to last year or previous years, but that's not here. Maybe you can definitely look that up on your own, but since it's not right here, we're not going to be able to look at it. And then they are raising the full year 2021 guidance for revenues to a range of 70.5 to 72.5 billion, and they're raising the adjusted diluted EPS guidance to a range of $3.55 to $3.65, which primarily reflects updates to anticipated contributions from the vaccine, partially offset by R&D expenses for additional vaccines. So basically, this is including revenues that they're probably going to get from this vaccine in the future, but they also have some expenses from research and development. Obviously, they probably spent a lot on that to get that drug out so quickly. And at this point, they anticipate they're going to have revenues of approximately $26 billion for the vaccine, which reflects 1.6 billion doses delivered in 2021, which is pretty crazy. That's a lot. And they also raised the revenue guidance range, excluding the vaccine, by 200 million, reflecting continued strong performance of the business. So, they raised the revenue guidance, but that includes, the vaccine revenue. So they say, not even talking about the vaccine, we're still raising our revenue guidance for pretty much everything else. So they entered into contracts to supply the vaccine to Canada and Israel for periods beyond 2021, which is good to see. It's not just going to be this one big pile of revenue that they're going to get right now. It's going to go out into the future. And it says they're negotiating similar contracts with multiple other countries, and they maintain the quarterly dividend for second quarter 2021 at 39 cents per share, which was really great to see because of that Viatris spinoff, it was expected that they would reduce the dividend, and I was just thinking it would probably be a couple cents per share, but they said it will not be reduced as a result of the initiation of a quarterly dividend by Viatris. So I would say all that info is pretty positive results for Pfizer going forward. Looking at what has happened in the past year with their company and, what they're expecting going forward. And just taking a look at the balance sheet as well, I like to look at the current assets, which are sitting around $35 billion currently, and then comparing that to the current liabilities of around 26 billion. You can see they definitely have more current assets than current liabilities, which is just one of the first easy things I look at. And then total assets are sitting around $154 billion, which is pretty awesome. You can see those did dip a little bit from last year, but things do change. And I mean, even though they do have these revenues from the pandemic, they definitely were affected in other ways. So that's something to take into consideration. But I would say that's not, something that's going to break me wanting to invest in Pfizer, So I think overall the balance sheet looks pretty positive. And we can see that shareholders' equity is around 63 billion, which is pretty much flat year over year, a teeny bit up, but that's not really significant in my opinion. And just taking a look at the dividends, the current yield is right around 4% with an annual payout of $1.56. And that puts them at a payout ratio of around 42%, which is super healthy, leaves them plenty of room to grow that dividend. And I do hope they grow that dividend substantially. I would love to see them grow it a little bit more than their 5-year growth rate, which is around 6%, because I think they can. And I think they're, doing very well and will continue doing well in the next coming years. So I would like to see them increase that dividend a little bit more. But at this point, they really don't have a super great track record, or a super long track record of increasing the dividend. It's only 11 years. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is they might not be as committed to a dividend as some other companies, but at the same time, you did see that they didn't decrease that dividend like was expected, so that maybe alludes that they are more committed to the dividend than this dividend growth of 11 years would expect. And they're actually going to be paying out a dividend fairly soon in the month of June 4th. So I think that's a Friday in about a week and a half. So I'll be looking forward to that. And I'm sure you guys will see that in one of my videos eventually. And just taking a look at valuation right now, their PE ratio is about 19.9, about 20 there. And just looking at this PE chart from the past, 10 or 15 years, you can see back in the early 2010s, they were, single digit PEs for a while there, and then they started picking up. So I think it's definitely not at the best valuation just compared to their history, but I would say they're becoming a more attractive company as well, just with where they're going with the vaccine for COVID, and how much of an effect that's having on their revenues. So I think maybe the higher PE is a little bit more justified at this point, but it's still a little bit rich for me, I would say, at this point. And then we can compare it to the healthcare sector. They're definitely in the drug manufacturers industry within the healthcare sector. So we can look down here, and the drug manufacturers have an average PE of around 19.6. So that's not really significant, the difference. I would say it's just right in line with what Pfizer's at, but they are definitely significantly lower than the average PE for the whole healthcare sector, which is 27. So that is good to see, but that's just another data point to consider. So that's not anything absolute. And just looking at their stock price chart over the past year, that you can see they've definitely recovered a fair bit. Their 52-week high is right around 43, and right now they're right around $39. So they're getting close to that high, but I still think it's a little bit higher than I would like to buy it at. But certainly, if you are starting a position, I would not say it's the absolute worst price. So that's definitely a decision you have to make, and I would encourage you guys to do a lot more research than I present here, because there's certainly a lot more that you can learn about a company and sort of piece together information about a company that could help you make a better investment decision. And real quick, just looking at the position I have in Pfizer, you can see right here I have about 2.14 shares over here at the left, and those are valued right now about $83, and that's almost 6% of my portfolio. So honestly, I would not mind Pfizer being a slightly higher percentage, but I think right now, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to be buying anytime soon just to get it to be a higher percentage in my portfolio. And right now, my yield on cost is around a little bit above 4%, which is pretty cool. And the annual dividend I receive from Pfizer is about $3.34, which is cool to me to be inching up towards that $4 annually, because then that would mean I would get $1 every quarter. And as I was saying, the dividend should be coming up soon. Yeah, here June 4th is the pay date. So I'm definitely excited to receive that dividend and the many other dividends I'll be expecting in June. That should be a awesome month for dividends. The one thing I want to talk about a little bit more is the Viatris spinoff. I was definitely not the most excited about it when the news first came out, but as it's gone along, I think I'm pretty happy with what happened there, and especially since Pfizer didn't cut their dividend at all like they were expected to. That's super awesome to see. So I've also done some other videos on healthcare companies, and one of those was Johnson & Johnson. So I'll leave a link right up here for you guys to check out, because I think that would be a good video for you guys to watch. So with that, I just want to thank you guys for watching till the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.